Okay, you just want me to talk about my lesson?
Yeah, just talk about
Okay, well, our unit is on multiplication, and my lesson was the introduction to the lesson, and it was a matching game. Well, first I showed a little YouTube video, and we did some keywords that are used in multiplication, and then we played a matching game, and each child worked with a partner, and they matched multiplication equation to an addition equation. Because I missed that part too. But I told them how similar and showed them how similar addition and multiplication are. So they had a couple minutes, 15 minutes to play the game with each other. And if they ran out, or if they finished too quickly, their next assignment was to add more cards to the deck, so they could think of their own examples. And then the assessment was that they would actually pass in an example that they created themselves. And that's what I used to make the, with the little data thing and the graph.
Okay,
So,
good.
Yeah.
How about feedback?
I like it.
If you were a substitute, you came in at like 8:02, they called you, and you had a 9:30 class, could you do it using this outline?
I think so. It looks pretty, I mean, I've seen it before. It's pretty detailed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's really the point. I mean, this is not for the kids. It's because you don't show the kids the outline and what's going to happen. This is for you to go back or your principal to look at. And let me make a couple of suggestions here. I'm going to edit. And we can still be friends, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in general, whenever you have like a category or a name, just bold the stuff that's a category because it makes it stand out. That's what bold is for.
Oh, okay.
So if you have like 3 or 4 things and it's a school and there are several different schools, you would just bold the school and each one of these would be a separate name, title of lesson. See? Now, see how that looks?
Yeah.
So anything you do, I mean, that's what bold is for. It's supposed to stand out. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it looks better.
And then you do, let's say, content standards and students' learning objective. And as you see, this makes it easy to go through the paper and distinguish kind of what the important stuff is. Now, if you're looking for assessment, you'll see it right away. You can also, there's also, by the way, there's a thing called a widget here, and there's a widget that lets you make a table of contents. And for each one of, you can actually make a table of contents through, I think you just put headings. So if you, for example, if you put content standards, and if you put like heading 3 is about the same size, and then students' learning objectives, again, heading 3 perhaps. And then if you, can you see okay back there? And if you go to the widget, table of contents, it says about the table of contents, it'll set links and so on and so forth. By adding section headings, as they will automatically be added to the table of contents. So if I hit embed table of contents, actually I'll try and move it up there, and then if I preview it, see? So that means that anything on the page, if you give it a section heading, you can link to it. And why would you want to do that?
To make it easier.
Yeah, and so it makes it easier for you to kind of navigate. And as you work with wikis with kids, it'll help them organize as well. See, once you impose that organization on the students, then you kind of expect them to follow that organization. So that's just a thing to just to show you that. So you can go through all the different parts and make them, or continue editing them, and so on. So. Good. Okay, I'll just leave that in there. You can change it as you want.
All right.
So, one more feedback. What else? Do you like the activities, or do you find that they're... What do you think?
They were engaging. They'll enjoy the game.
Is that what you're supposed to do? Engage the kids? And
Yeah.
Do we teach that you're supposed to enjoy it? You're supposed to do that? Good. Good. How about another wiki that somebody can give me? Give me another wiki. I'll leave the wikispaces.com, so what's another one? Go ahead, I'm listening, I'm ready to type. Come on, somebody else. How about the science folks?
Can you press save? Just so.
So you can save it.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, I didn't want to save it. So give me another one. What are the other groups?
The science one is EDT.
Okay,
415 F1270,
that sounds familiar.
and then science.wikispaces.com.
Okay, thank you. So I'm not in here because you have to send me an invite, and some people sent invites and it was just the wrong address. It's supposed to be sponder@ccsu.edu. Some people sent it to mail.ccsu.edu. How about one of the others? Quickly. What's after science?
There must be an English.
Well, who's the English folks? What are you guys back there? What are you doing?
I'm math. I was on the math.
Okay, how about the English?
Is there an English history?
History, okay. What's the address?
It's Explorers.
I'm sorry?
Explorers.
It's just Explorers?
EDT 415.
First?
No, it's Explorers, EDT 415.
My member?
We invited.
I sent it to you like 3 times. It keeps coming back to me saying that you already sent it. You already sent
We already sent it.
it. Did you get it?
Maybe.
What?
I've been added as a member to the wiki.
Oh, okay.
Oh, ye of little faith. And I dismissed the notice. Okay, so who's going to volunteer to let us look at the page? Amy, Bridget, Heather, Brittany, Jenny, Sharon,
You can look at mine if you want.
Bridget, Sharon.
Last one.
Good. So tell us about it.
Well, my lesson plan involves Ponce de Leon and the Fountain of Youth. So I wanted the students to actually look at this page, minus the outline at the bottom of the page, is where they would look at it, and read over an article I placed on here, and then there are 2 YouTube videos that I would have them watch. And after this, they would go onto their Edmodo accounts and post 1 question and answer 2 of their classmates' questions
Well, that's nice.
for reflection. And it's for 5th grade, so they should be able to do all that.
Oh, sure. What else? And you have a class website, and you have a download here of Time Explorers.
Yes, it's a timeline.
Excel. Okay, well, that's nice. Now notice she has the directions in red. That looks pretty good as far as I'm concerned. You just might make the YouTube the Y capital, but other than that, it fits right in because it draws your eyes to it. So that's when you use red, is when you want people to pick something out of so many things. So that's fine. And YouTube videos, and that's good. You also put where you got them. A lot of people on the pages that I looked at don't have the sources, so make sure you have your sources there. And these shouldn't be in red. So these should be just regular questions. Now, somebody tell me what I'm going to say about this stuff at the very top here. What am I going to say about this? I'm going to say something special about this.
I know.
What?
You don't like underline.
It's not that I don't like underlining. We don't do that.
Oh, we don't do that.
Because underlining is for hyperlinks. Really, the only reason why there's underlining is because when they invented typewriters, they couldn't italicize, so they underline instead of italicizing. But now that we have word processing, it's like typesetting. So it's more like a book. You don't see underlining in a book, do you? In a text? The reason is because it's like typesetting. It's printing. And you don't need to have the underline, so don't use those. That's the professional way of doing it. Also, one page, one space after period, which looks fine here. So you're okay. How about feedback for Sharon? What do you think? There's a lot in there.
Yeah, her lesson plan's got a lot.
And
It's detailed.
It's a very detailed lesson plan.
do you find if it's this detailed, it makes it easier to teach?
You might have to like review that before, because if me personally, if I was a sub and I went to her class and I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do? But if I had like time to look at it, I'm pretty sure I would understand just from looking at it now.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure like all the content and stuff is.
Well, you want to know what happens at the beginning and the end. So sometimes it needs a while. Sometimes, if you're a sub, a permanent sub, they'll send you stuff the night before. Hopefully that'll happen instead of just getting into the class. But if you develop lessons and put them on a wiki and send the URL to your permanent sub, then they can look and see what's going on. Better than sitting and having kids watch a VCR or videotape. That's never happened before, has it? Good. Okay. Other questions or comments then about doing these? Yeah.
Before I forget, what's the email we sent it to?
Sorry?
Science one? What email did we send it to you for you?
sponderby@ccsu.edu. Now, I'm going to grade these next week, not this week, because I wanted you to have a chance to see other folks, see what people are doing, and then kind of make changes on your own. So that if you're not sure about anything, then you can email me. I'll pick it up, or else just look at what other folks are doing. You want it to be a good lesson, you know, and look well so that somebody who's reading it will be able to tell what's on the page. Okay. One more question, a free bonus question. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Sharon has like some like extra things on her that like weren't part of like the template, which I think are really good to have. But like, she's got like rational for objectives, student learning objectives, differentiation. Because that's stuff that we should really be.
That you should be thinking about
Yeah.
the process. Yes. Which brings me to something I wanted to share, except for this stupid Word document coming up. Force quit. I did a project about 2000, the year 2000, Y2K, and I went around and I made a DVD for student teachers, or CD-ROM, and I gave it out to like thousands of student teachers. And what it was I went around and asked all the teachers or teachers in the area for advice on things that students wanted to know about student teaching. And so I asked one teacher about lesson planning. So what was what advice or what problems did she see with lesson planning? And you know what she said? What do you think she said then about CCSU student teachers that come in and lesson plan? What was the big problem she saw that you can think of? There was one, and everybody that I tell says, yeah, that's right. Sorry?
I would say it's time consuming.
Time consuming that's true, but what she said was that at CCSU they teach you to make a really nice lesson plan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they don't teach you to plan for a day or a week. And so they find that when student teachers go out and start teaching, they know how to do a lesson plan or two, but when it comes to planning for the full day and for the full week, they really don't have that experience. And so I don't know if that's true. You can tell me if that's true. Are you ready to go in there and have a full week's lesson plans and plan? Okay. Well, the purpose how to make a single lesson plan, but how do I plan for a day's activity? You know, are there special things that you need to take in consideration for the week and even for like a whole unit or maybe a whole month? So that's incredibly important. And yet, I've heard a lot of people say that we have been teaching you that kind of stuff. It may come later, but because you're in classrooms now, ask the people that you're working with, your cooperating teachers. Another one, I asked, okay, what's the biggest mistake that student teachers make? I'm ready for this. I'm thinking, wow, it's going to be like something real bad, like breaking the lights or something. So she said, when student teachers come in and they give their lesson and the teacher's in the back of the room, something will come up like Ponce de Leon or something like that you guys had. And the student teacher would go up and look at the teacher and say, is that right? Because someone will ask them a question. And she said that drives the cooperating teachers up the wall. That, first of all, you don't acknowledge the teacher back there. You're just going to do your stuff. And second, if something comes up in a class, you can say I don't know once or twice, but not the whole lesson or 3 lessons or so. So you really need to be more prepared for some of those kind of questions that inevitably come up. So she said she saw many, many student teachers, and once in a while they would go in the back and ask, use the teacher in the back to confirm something, and you don't want to do that. So it's just something that, as far as lesson planning goes and teaching in the class, you want to make sure to avoid those pitfalls. So I just mentioned now, I used to give out a CD so people would take it out and they could look at the other, I had a whole bunch of different videos from teachers, all sorts of good kinds of, don't do this, don't do that. I stopped giving them out after I went on sabbatical. So.